Well, the MP, Charles Walker, is vice chairman of the Conservative Backbench 1922 committee. Good afternoon, Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon.
What do you make of what you have heard from the government in terms of the way that this should be playing out in the months ahead?
I'm very disappointed. The Prime Minister's had a good few weeks where he seems to have been on top of things. And then he is somewhat let down by both the Secretary of State for Health and the Secretary of State for Transport. First of all, the Secretary of State for Health threatening to lock people up for 10 years if they sort of are not truthful about where they've been, for example, coming back from Portugal. Of course, that's not a good thing to do, to be untruthful, but 10 years for crying out loud. And then we have the Secretary of State for Transport urging people not even to book domestic holidays. Now, there's a lot of people who will have seen a lot of hope evaporate at that, mostly those who are desperate to have deposits paid so they can continue to make a living and ensure that their businesses remain viable until the holiday season starts. So two really depressing interventions from two senior secretaries of state.
On that travel within the UK, do you see that as a suggestion that the goalposts are moving, which was obviously a phrase we were all talking about a week or so ago?
They've not so much moved as been ripped out and carried off to another playing field. I mean, it is just not acceptable behaviour. This is becoming an extended exercise in almost studied and deliberate cruelty for a nation now that is increasingly anxious and under pressure. People need to see their children. They need to see their parents. They need to see the people that they love. They need to have something to look forward to. And we are conducting a massive experiment in creating high levels of anxiety in a population. And it's just not acceptable.
Except the government has been clear that come February the 22nd, when we will have more data on vaccinations and infection rates, it will set out a roadmap. And broadly, the country's with the government on that, it would appear, according to all the surveys.
Well, I love opinion polls still show that most people are in favour of lockdown. I suspect that most people are in favour of lockdown as long as it works for them, and that when they do break it, they break it in a responsible way. I'm a very responsible person, they'll say. It's those ruffians down the road. That's why we need lockdown. So let's be clear about that. Don't read too much into opinion polls. But if the government is going to set out, as I believe it will, its route map on the 22nd of February, why on earth are we getting interventions like the one we've just had from the Secretary of State for Transport about booking holidays? We were told that when the vaccine came, release would happen. And it now seems that the government either knows something that it's not willing to share with us about the vaccines, or just really is facing in multiple directions and is determined to muddy the water and sow confusion and high levels of upset and concern in what is already a very stressed out population.
That's sounding quite, do you seriously think that one reason is that they're trying to hide something about the vaccines?
Well, I don't know, but for crying out loud, we were told, weren't we, that the vaccines were the route out of this.
Of course, at that stage, variants weren't known about.
We had summer holidays last year when we didn't have a vaccine.
Have you booked a summer holiday?
Now we've got vaccines coming out of our ears. Now we've got vaccines coming out of our ears. We're told don't book a summer holiday, for crying out loud. It does strike me as odd, and if it doesn't strike you as odd, Martha, then I think we're in a completely different place on this.
Have you booked a holiday?
I'm not talking about what holidays I'm booking. It's not about me.
I appreciate that.
Not about
I'm just wondering about the
stressed out people who need something to look forward to. Yeah? Mental health is important. Loads of anxious people out there, loads of them writing to me. Okay, so loads of people who are thinking whether it's even worth going on at the moment. And it's about time some bloody secretaries of state understood this, okay? Because existing isn't living for many people.
So you're prepared to wait till February the 22nd, but at that date, you want a very clear route map that ensures this lockdown ends and does not return.
That's absolutely what I want. And I want the Prime Minister, who, as I said, has had a pretty good 4 weeks, to get a grip of his cabinet ministers and just remind them that actually after a year of virtual lockdown, what people need is some hope, optimism and something to look forward to. Families, hugging your children is really, really important.
Charles Walker. Thank you very much.